Come on, step it up!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NUReviews.com's brand new podcast, Come On, Step It Up, where we talk about various aspects of the gaming industry and the internet, various news articles that have recently come out and stuff, where we just honestly think that the people involved need to step it up. Joining us today is Steve Liska, the founder of NUReviews Network, Bradley Polk, the co-founder and most awesome person on the entire network. I'm just saying, it's personal. I'm not biased. And Alex, something or another. I don't even know his last name.
Thank you, Brad. And like he said, this is a brand new podcast. We're doing this either weekly or bi-weekly, depending on how this goes. And essentially, we talk about 2 or 3 news stories in video games that we feel are worth discussing. So let's move on to our first topic. Let's see. This is off GoNintendo.com. Gamers bombard Platinum Games with hate-filled messages over Bayonetta 2 on Wii U. On Thursday, there was a press conference in New York City where essentially Reggie Fils-Aimé, the president of Nintendo, announced Wii U's price, release date, and a bunch of games that will be released on launch date or within the launch window. One of these games is Bayonetta 2, which was revealed to be an exclusive game just for the Wii U. And this turns out to upset quite a number of people on Twitter. In fact, I have a pretty significant list of tweets that can be found that people are extremely angry, I guess. And you guys want to read some of them out loud?
I'll do it. I love this. All right.
Alright.
Okay. I really not happy that Bayonetta 2 has become a Wii U exclusive. The first one was multi-platform. That's like a fuck you to any gamer. Bayonetta 2, Wii Poo only. What a load of bullshit. I'm not replaying the original again in protest. Fuck Nintendo. Fuck you very much. Hold on. There's one that I absolutely loved. Oh, this one's great. From Burning Hunter. Bayonetta 2 is a Wii U exclusive? Motherfucking god fucking shit cocks. And it's published by Nintendo, a fucking son of a bitch. How can you have that much hate? Like, really? How can you have that much hate?
It's the internet. There's unlimited hate here.
And he's got a picture of the girl from the Men in Black cartoon. How can you like that show? But oh, he tweets again. I love this one. I want to kick a dolphin in its vagina hard. I'm so angry at video games right now. What does a dolphin's vagina have to do with any of this?
Fuck video games!
Fuck video games!
It's okay though, because a lot of these tweets mention the people are going to kill themselves, so
awesome.
At least we don't have to deal with these people anymore.
What many people don't really know is that, alright, so Sega had a contract with Platinum Games. Platinum Games would develop blah 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 many amount of games for Sega, and they'd publish it, and then they're gone. But Sega is a complete asshole to Platinum Games. Complete ass. Absolutely terrible. Like, they tried to get Platinum Games to re-sign contract. Platinum Games like, no, fuck you. It's not happening. Like, you publish our games, but you don't release them to like everyone that wants them. Why do you do this to me? That's the main reason why Bayonetta 2 is, like, because Nintendo picked this up. Platinum doesn't currently have a publisher, I think. I think that contract has ended. It ended with a recent game. I think it was Anarchy Reigns. And so that is why Bayonetta 2 exists, because Nintendo was gracious enough to pick up Platinum Games. That's also why they get, what was it? Wonder Heroes 101? Something like that?
Wonderful Souls 101, I think.
Wonderful Souls 101 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's another reason why Platinum Games is developing for them, because Nintendo picked them up for that. Nintendo is graciously helping Platinum Games release these titles, and Platinum Games make some of the best video games out there. I'm just saying. So why you people? You gotta learn. You gotta learn to respect. You may not like Nintendo, but if you like anything that Platinum Games has released, you would realize that Nintendo's doing them a favor by doing this.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Nintendo, Bayonetta 2 wouldn't even exist. That's basically what it boils down to.
Precisely.
Yeah, although I would like to mention, though, is that apparently Sega is still attached to the game, but apparently this is what the tweet from Sega says regarding Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 is developed by Platinum Games and published by Nintendo. Sega is working with both as an advisor to the project. I don't know what this really means, but they're still attached to
Well, maybe Sega's trying to save some face against the hate.
I'm just saying, but I think Sega technically owns. I think they might own the right to Bayonetta, like the license and all that. I'm not quite sure. Actually, I think it's the opposite. I think Platinum Games owns it, but that could be a reason. It's just that either they own it or it's at the very ass end of that contract that I mentioned. So while they don't really like have the right to be like, hey, let's have this game, they're still like contractually connected to Platinum. So they're like, hey, we're gonna be a part of this whether you like it or not. Fucking hate Sega.
Alright. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move for Nintendo, though, to invest the money in getting Bayonetta 2, because it might push some gamers to even want to buy it. Because, I mean, that's really the only reason Bayonetta 2 even exists, was so that Nintendo could have it on the Wii U.
Well, it won't push these 30, 40-some tweeter gamers right here, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, but everyone's so hard on Twitter, but they're probably going to buy a Wii U in real life.
Man, fuck Wii U, here's my money.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everyone likes to act tough on the internet.
Yeah, I think this... I know this is more or less a buzzword that's been going on a bit, especially since Mass Effect 3, but I think this is essentially a good example of gamer entitlement, that since they buy like prior video games, they believe they have like earned the right to have like the game on their system. Like what? Bayonetta was on PS3 and 360. Why isn't it Bayonetta 2 also on 360? I don't want to buy a Wii U. Whatever.
Exactly. Like this really shows how small-minded a loud majority. I don't want to say a vast majority, but I want to say a loud majority of the gaming community really is. Like they don't understand what goes on inside the gaming behind the scenes of the gaming community. They don't understand these contracts and like the publishing rights and all this other stuff. If you go to any of the hobby, if you go ask a hobbyist of like Magic the Gathering, he'll tell you fucking everything about anything that's ever happened in Magic Gathering, whether you want to or not. If you go to most people who call themselves video game hobbyists, they won't be able to tell you these kind of things. And that's why we have this amount of rage, because people who call themselves gamers don't really attach themselves enough to the development process of video games and everything that goes on in behind the scenes of development to really know this stuff. Because if they knew this stuff, they wouldn't be this angry. They'd be like, all right, it's odd, but all right, let's do this. Let's go on.
Alright, and our final topic is... Alright, this is off Eurogamer.net. Capcom wants less time between sequels, so is shortening development.
Haha, this is gonna be fun.
So, there's a lot of quotes here that makes me... I don't even want to... I'm taken back. Capcom, why? Why?
Capcom's annual report is out, and one of the big ideas for the future is to shorten development cycles and pump out sequels more often. This means that within like a year's time, we're going to be getting Super Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Alpha Omega Edition with bacon. It's going to be awesome. This is going to be the greatest thing ever, and this can only mean up for Capcom. I mean, what possible bad things can come out of this?
Let me just read some quotes so we can get a clear image what the president kind of more or less means. We launch games from popular series titles from the company approximately every 2.5 years. This is because the development of a single major title usually requires 3 to 4 years.
Makes sense.
In the event that there are a few hits, it is difficult to create a series every year, and earnings will be adversely impacted. For this reason, it is important to maintain a large number of popular titles or shorten the sales to ensure stable earnings. And then he goes on to mention a couple of titles that you see a lot of sequels for, like Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, not really, although that new one,
Don't.
and so forth. And he went on to also mention that new major titles will be limited to 100 people, with multiple sequel titles developed at the same time. So while they're making one game, they're going to be developing the sequel at the same time.
Now, I want our listeners to think a minute. Alright, I know a lot of you probably have never done this, but when you beat a game and there's any, like, credits, if you ever see credits in a game and you see all those names in it, each one of those names is a job. Every single one of them. And he's talking about limiting every single name in those on that credit screen to 100 people in one game.
I don't really mind it. It's a shorter credit screen.
That is the one plus. When you go through the credits, you only have to be there for like 30 seconds. But it's still, he's talking about taking a major titles that everyone loves. Like say if you took Halo 3 and you shorten it so only 100 people made it, so probably like an eighth of that entire like development team, and then it was made in like what, a year, 2 years, maybe something like that. This is horrible. Why would you do this, Capcom?
Of course.
Hey, it's money, man. It's all about money. Is Capcom a public? Is it traded? Do they trade stocks for Capcom?
Maybe. Hold on.
Maybe on the Japanese market.
Because if it's a public company, then it makes sense to try to have an annual income that's greater every year, because that's how money works.
But
and, you want to keep investors happy.
They're putting out so many games that inevitably the quality of the games is going to drop.
Of course. It
has been dropping already.
dropping.
I mean, if you've seen their recent track record, like, let's say...
Dude, we don't need Resident Evil 6. We need Resident Evil like the way it was in the first one, where you actually had 16 bullets and had to figure out if you're ever going to, use them. Because, I don't know, Resident Evil's too action shooter now. It sucks.
And then you have Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which they still release DLC like every single week. So it's not even worth putting your time into actually learning how to play the game if you could just buy some gems, and then that way you're essentially forced to buy new gems in order to keep up with everyone else, and that's pretty shitty. I mean, I thought I bought the special edition because it's supposed to come with all the gems, but they're coming out way more and more and more, and there's no point of me picking that up. It's just... And then you also got the on-disc DLC as well, and that's been on a couple games. Like you got Street Fighter Cross Tekken, that was on Resident Evil 5. It had I think Mercenaries mode, or the Versus mode or whatever.
Yep.
That was also on disc as well. That's been becoming a large problem as well.
Yeah, they may think that being able to output so many games in a shorter amount of time will give them more sales, but it really won't. It really won't. Because let's look at Capcom's big their thing.
Well,
they have multiplayer games.
Don't be so big.
No, hold on. Hold on. They have multiplayer games which are fighting games, and the fighting game community is honestly, I hate to say it, but they're pretty much as good a gaming community as you can really get. They're the most sensible minded when it comes to this stuff. And if they start outputting these fighting games once 1-2 times a year, eventually they're gonna the fighting games people they're gonna get sick of this shit, because they realize, hey, you are literally releasing the same thing over and over again. There's no changes going on here. You are literally releasing the same thing over and over again. And then they got the single-player games. They got games like Devil May Cry. Well, they got games like Devil May Cry. And Lost Planet's already turned to shit. And Resident Evil's turned to shit. Well, a lot of their single-player games have already turned to shit. So there's really not much to say there.
Exactly, because if they shorten the release cycle, eventually they're going to be like Activision, oversaturating the market. You got stuff like tons of Call of Duties. They ended up killing the Tony Hawk and Guitar Hero franchise by releasing way too many games. And Capcom, despite thinking this is a pretty good marketing strategy or whatever, won't end well.
No, it won't.
Hurt them. It'll hurt the gamers. It'll hurt the games themselves.
And the real problem here is that the gems that they make, the few gems like the Ace Attorney series, they're gonna get lost in all this. Ace Attorney's already lost. It's a fucking shock that the new one's gonna be coming to the States. Although I'm still hoping Layton vs. Phoenix Wright's gonna come out, but I highly doubt it. But these things, these actual good games are they're going to be fucked up and then they're going to be lost. We're not going to have good gems out of Capcom anymore. We are only going to have shit. There's nothing that'll save Capcom at all. There's nothing they will be able to do after this.
I mean, we shouldn't even get into Mega Man because that's a whole separate thing right there. They basically stabbed Mega Man in the back ever since Fune ended up leaving Capcom.
Yeah,
and then just abandoned Mega Man. They failed to acknowledge him anymore.
Precisely. But that's a Russell Jimmy's right there.
But you have to understand. I mean. Yeah. When you look at the success of games like Call of Duty, like the whole franchise in general, it's not hard to see why this is an attractive option for certain developers.
Sadly, I agree with you. Because
people are stupid. If Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 hit $1 million in revenue quicker than Avatar did. It's ridiculous.
I'm sad to say it, but I agree with you. The Call of Duty franchise is sadly a very successful franchise because they output games at a good pace. I honestly have.
Well, they know how to market to 12-year-old kids.
Yeah, they know how to market to the people who will buy these games. All the people who are like, ooh, shiny stuff, let's buy it.
Idiots.
And they know how to market to them. And that's why they're able to output, as far as I'm concerned, literally the same game over and over and over again.
Yep.
And I think I've been told that the story for maybe the Black Ops series is good. I don't know. Only time I've ever played Black Ops is multiplayer with my friends.
Multiplayer.
And I absolutely suck at it because I'm horrible at video games. But really, I see every time I see anything of Call of Duty being released, I have no clue what the changes are. Absolutely none. Oh, look, shiny new guns. Awesome. That's alright, I guess.
Yeah, I think the big new thing about Black Ops 2 is essentially they're implementing drones and stuff because I think it takes place in the future. So I'll be able to use RC helicopters and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean,
that's about it.
Yeah, new weapons.
Yeah. What else can you do? Because if you do any major change, that would no doubt alienate your audience already.
Yeah, exactly. It's sad that it's come to a state like that. And it's come to a state where other companies see that and think it's a good idea. Of course, it's Capcom. I mean, they're kind of running out of good ideas at this moment.
They're essentially now the Activision of Japan.
Oh, you gotta.
And it's a shame because, with Capcom and all their franchises, at one point I would admit that Capcom was my favorite developer because all their great games, but every year it's just only getting worse and worse for them, and I'm sad to say that I've lost lots of respect for them. Lots.
Yeah. Same thing with Square Enix.
I don't play Square Enix games, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't play Capcom, so hey, we're equal.
Hey, there you go.
I can't believe. I have to believe. I personally have to believe that there's one person on the executive board that thinks this is a bad idea, and he was just massively outvoted. I have to have that glimpse of hope for the future of this industry. That there is at least one person on that board that's this is a bad idea. But all the other people's like, we make money. It's not a bad idea. And he's like, I go fight Godzilla now. I might as well. I got nothing else to do.
Well, all I can say is prepare yourself, because it will only get worse.
Oh, sad. I know. I am
prepare yourself.
Preparing everything and everyone.
You better make sure your body is ready.
Sadly, it never will be. It'll always be full of disappointment.
And with that, we will wrap up this particular episode. I guess the pilot of Come On, Step It Up. Thank you for listening. We'll be doing this, I guess we'll try to go for bi-weekly. That seems good. So every 2 weeks we'll talk about whatever's been happening in the news. I do have a couple ideas for next week, so hopefully it'll be pretty good. So with that, I'm Steve.
I'm Brad.
Alex.
And this is NUReviews signing off.